Hello, my name's Lizzie. I'm Anglican. In just under 5 months' time, I'm going to be joining a community of religious sisters as a postulant. And if you've seen my recent videos, I've been promising to make a video explaining what the word postulant actually means, or what a postulant is. And this finally is that video I've been promising. I will hold your people in my heart. So let's say you were wondering if you were called to religious life. You would first get to know about the different kinds of nuns out there and the different orders, and within that the different communities. And then there might be a particular community that particularly resonated with you, or that you particularly felt drawn to, and so you might go visit them and get to know them. And quite a few communities are able to they've got facilities for guests to stay on site, so you might do that. And if they still felt the kind of community that you're wondering if God's calling you to, then you would ask to live alongside them. And that's a bit different from being a guest, because then you're living in the nuns' quarters and you're sharing in their life in a way that's different from just being a guest doing your own thing during the day. And I think it's different for every individual how long that they spend as an alongsider, as they call it. But it's just a temporary trying out thing that doesn't, it's not a formal moving in, and it doesn't require like leaving anything behind or ending anything of your current life or housing or employment or anything like that. So depending on how long they ask you to live alongside them for, I don't think you'd necessarily need to even end your jobs. It might be that you could use annual leave, or I really don't know how other people have done it, but it's a temporary tryout period rather than a formal moving in. But if having done that, it still, or it increasingly felt that this was the community that God was calling you to for life, if you genuinely could see yourself with this community and the rule of this order, as far as you understand it, for life, then you would ask to become a postulant. And when you become a postulant, that is more like when you formally move in with a view to potentially now being there for life. But it's still a discernment stage, because at any point you can move out if you don't feel it is for you after all. And there's normally a set length of time that you're a postulant for. And I think each community states the number of months that you would be a postulant with them for. So for me, it would be 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, we would then be asking the question, do I feel, and does the community feel, it is where God wants me for life? And do we now proceed to the next level? But when you're a postulant, you're not quite a nun. It's a live-in discernment, but with the view to potentially being there for the rest of your life. So you would wear your own clothes, or you wouldn't wear the same as the nuns at this stage. That would come at the next stage, when you sort of become a junior nun, as it were, or a student nun, or a combination of that. The word postulant actually comes from like the same root of the word when you pose a question, and you're kind of asking to be a candidate for that community, and you're asking them if they would try you out as a member of their community. And I suppose the bigger question is you're all asking, is this where God wants me for life? And if at the end of that, the postulant period or the postulancy, then if it does feel that it is where you're meant to be for life, then you would formally move to the next level of novice. So you're in this weird position that the day you move in as a postulant, you really could be moving in, and that's it. That's the day you moved in, and you really could be there for the rest of your life. But because the end of that discernment period seamlessly moves into the next stage of becoming a junior nun. But at the same time, there's that chance that you realise, or the community feels, it's not right for you. So you've got to go in with this two contrasting possible outcomes. And as I was saying in my last video, I was told that it's usually about, or the ratio I was given was that it seems to be about a quarter of people that enter as postulants go on to eventually make life vows with that same community. And so people have been helping me with how do you prepare and be all the logistics and practicalities of entering this weird phase where you're moving in potentially for life, but possibly only for a few weeks or months. So you're not asked to get rid of your money, you're not asked to get rid of your possessions. And it's really important that you keep a safety net in case it turns out to not be for you. So yeah, you'd keep all your money, you'd keep your bank account, you'd keep as much of your possessions as you felt able. So it might be that you can keep things in storage. If you were, I was told that, say you owned a flat, it would be best for you while you were a postulant to be renting your flat out so that you've still got that flat and that income for now, in case it turned out that you felt you weren't meant to be with that community for life after all. In my case, I'm renting a flat. So in my case, because just storage would be too difficult, I will be getting rid of a lot of my possessions. I don't have that much in the grand scheme of things. So I will be getting rid of my furniture and some of my books and stuff like that, and other things. Some of my books and a few possessions my parents will look after for now. And obviously I'm going to have to, I am ending my work. I guess you have to do that to become a postulant. But yeah, in my case, I'm ending my tenancy agreement with my landlord as well in order to become a postulant. But at the same, so yeah, you're preparing, you're making sure you've got that safety net and not getting rid of absolutely everything. But really, I guess you wouldn't be asking to become a postulant unless you did realistically see yourself with that community for life. So that's how it's different from just asking to live with a community to try them out. It's a deeper thing and a more formal thing, and something that has the assumption of something far longer lasting and lifelong about it. I think that's everything I can think of about being a postulant. So yeah, and it's a mutual discernment, I guess. And you're asking the question, do I feel this is where God is calling me for life, and can I really live this life for the rest of my days? And the community are asking the same thing of you, and they're asking, can we cope with the idea of her living with us for the rest of our lives? And they're asking, do they feel it's where God wants you, and do you seem to fit into the community, and those kind of questions too. And I guess you just trust the process and trust that God will make it clear by the end of ideally by the end of those months of being a postulant, and if it's not the right community or the right thing for you, then I guess you trust that God will make it clear where you should be going next. Maybe it just acts, you're being a postulant acts as a stepping stone to you discerning where God does want you, if it's not there. But it's a weird situation to be in, both the planning just in case it doesn't work out, but at the same time moving in, knowing that could be the date you moved in, and 50 years down the line you're still a sister with that order, and you still remember the day you moved in as a postulant, and you've been there ever since. So exciting times.